Imagine flying into one of the most unexplored jungles on Earth in search of a living dinosaur, only to realize that the real mission isn't discovering history, it's surviving it. What begins as a scientific expedition quickly turns into a nightmare, where every step deeper into the jungle pushes the team closer to extinction. And before it's over, they'll discover that some secrets were buried for millions of years for a reason. Some legends refuse to die. Deep inside the untouched jungles of the Congo, locals whisper about creatures that science insists vanished millions of years ago. Most people laugh off the stories as folklore, until a mysterious backpack washes down a river carrying the only clue left behind by a missing expedition. The discovery sends shockwaves across the world. News reports begin connecting the disappearance to rumors of living dinosaurs hidden somewhere beneath the dense rainforest. While skeptics dismiss the claims, explorer Jonathan Merchant sees something different. To him, every myth deserves investigation if there's even a chance the evidence is real. Jonathan assembles a professional expedition to uncover the truth. Joining him are his longtime colleague Charlie, a doctor named Liz, several documentary cameramen, and an environmental specialist whose knowledge of the Congo may be their greatest survival tool. If they succeed, they'll make the greatest scientific discovery in modern history. If they fail, no one may ever learn what happened to them. Back home, Jonathan's teenage son Luke dreams of becoming a filmmaker. A camera is almost always in his hands, and he sees the world through a lens instead of his own eyes. When he hears about the expedition, excitement completely outweighs caution. This is the adventure he's always dreamed of. Jonathan quickly shuts the idea down. The jungle is unpredictable, dangerous, and absolutely no place for his son. Luke is told he'll stay safely with relatives while the expedition moves forward without him. Outwardly, he accepts the decision, but privately, he's already planning something very different. Soon the entire team arrives in the Congo and prepares for the final stage of the journey. Before boarding the helicopter, Jonathan explains why they're risking everything. Based on recent discoveries and eyewitness accounts, they believe an isolated ecosystem may have protected prehistoric animals from extinction. If that's true, they aren't just searching for fossils, they're searching for living history. As the helicopter rises above the endless rainforest, everyone focuses on the mission ahead. What none of them realize is that Luke has secretly hidden himself among the expedition's equipment. His plan works perfectly until a small noise inside the cargo compartment catches everyone's attention. Jonathan investigates and is stunned to find his son crouched between the supplies with a camera still recording. Angry and frustrated, he orders the pilot to turn around immediately. But there's a problem. They've already flown too deep into the wilderness, and the helicopter doesn't have enough fuel to make a return trip safely. Whether Jonathan likes it or not, Luke has become the expedition's youngest member. The awkward moment doesn't last long. Luke notices a strange shape flying outside the helicopter. At first it looks like a giant bird, but something about its wings and movements feels ancient. Seconds later, the creature crashes straight into the helicopter's spinning rotor. The aircraft instantly loses control. Warning alarms fill the cabin as the pilot desperately fights to keep everyone alive. The helicopter slams through the treetops before crashing deep inside the jungle. Miraculously, most of the team survives the impact, but the pilot isn't as fortunate. Fuel begins pouring from the wreckage. Realizing the helicopter could explode at any moment, everyone grabs whatever supplies they can carry and runs for cover. Moments later, a massive explosion tears through the jungle, destroying their only reliable way home. Now completely stranded, Jonathan has no choice but to continue the expedition on foot. Their environmental guide leads them toward a nearby river, explaining that it's the safest route through the dense rainforest. Along the way, they stumble across an abandoned tribal settlement. Empty huts stand silently among the trees while strange bloodstains cover several walls. Whatever happened here happened suddenly, and whatever caused it is probably still nearby. The guide strongly advises everyone to keep moving, but darkness is falling fast and there are no better options. Reluctantly, the group decides to spend the night inside the abandoned village. Luke, always thinking like a filmmaker, sets up one of his motion-activated cameras outside the shelter. If anything passes through the camp overnight, his equipment will capture it. Inside, the mood is far less optimistic. Most of their communication gear was destroyed in the crash. Their satellite phone is damaged, leaving them completely isolated from the outside world. Since Luke has a talent for electronics, the team asks him to see if he can repair it while everyone rests. Hours later, in the middle of the night, the motion sensor suddenly activates. Luke wakes to an alert on his monitor. At first, only shadows move between the trees. Then enormous winged creatures step into view. They aren't birds, they aren't bats, they're flying reptiles that disappeared millions of years ago. Before anyone can process what they're seeing, one of the creatures smashes through the roof of the shelter. The entire camp erupts into chaos. The moment the creatures descend on the camp, the expedition stops feeling like a scientific mission and starts becoming a fight for survival. The team barely escapes the abandoned village before they're forced toward the river, where a pair of old boats becomes their only chance of putting distance between themselves and the flying predators. But the escape comes at a heartbreaking cost. One of their teammates doesn't make it, driving home a painful truth. Whatever lives in this jungle isn't just surviving, it's defending its territory. That loss divides the expedition. Jonathan believes the mission is over. He's responsible for everyone's lives, especially his son's, and getting out of the jungle becomes his only priority. Charlie, however, sees the situation differently. In his eyes, they've just witnessed the greatest biological discovery in human history. Walking away now would mean abandoning fame, fortune, and a place in history. The disagreement isn't just about science anymore. It's about ambition versus responsibility. As they continue deeper through the river system, the jungle begins revealing something extraordinary. Strange tracks appear along the shoreline. Unfamiliar calls echo through the trees. Then, almost unexpectedly, the tension softens when the group encounters a small, curious dinosaur that behaves more like a cautious wild animal than a monster. Luke immediately connects with the young creature. His curiosity replaces fear, and he earns the animal's trust by approaching it patiently instead of treating it as a threat. The friendship offers a brief reminder that not every prehistoric animal is a predator. Some are simply trying to survive in a hidden ecosystem that's remained untouched for millions of years. Wanting to learn more, Luke cleverly places a small camera on the young dinosaur. When the animal disappears into the forest, the footage reveals glimpses of places no human has ever documented. Dense valleys, mysterious caves, and signs of much larger creatures suggest that the rumors were only scratching the surface. For Charlie, this changes everything. Instead of seeing an expedition that needs rescuing, he sees an opportunity that belongs to him alone. His obsession slowly pushes him past the point of reason. Nature, meanwhile, has its own plans. The river becomes increasingly dangerous, and the expedition discovers that the skies aren't the only place hiding ancient predators. Something massive moves beneath the water, silently following the boats. Moments later, the calm surface erupts into chaos as an enormous prehistoric hunter attacks without warning. The encounter tears the expedition apart. Separated from his father during the confusion, Luke believes Jonathan may have been killed. Alone, frightened, and carrying little more than his camera and determination, he realizes that surviving now depends entirely on his own decisions. What follows becomes the movie's emotional turning point. Instead of giving up, Luke begins documenting everything around him, not because he's chasing adventure anymore, but because he understands that someone must tell the truth if he never makes it home. His recordings become evidence rather than entertainment. Eventually, Charlie finds him again. At first, it seems like a reunion, but his true intentions quickly surface. Consumed by the idea of claiming the discovery for himself, Charlie betrays the very people he came to protect. His greed has completely replaced his humanity. The betrayal transforms the expedition's greatest external danger into an internal one. At the same time, Jonathan refuses to abandon hope. Despite believing the odds are impossible, he continues searching for his son through the prehistoric wilderness. Their eventual reunion becomes one of the story's most satisfying moments, reminding us that the strongest force in the jungle isn't fear, it's family. But peace lasts only briefly. The deeper they travel, the more obvious it becomes that this hidden valley functions as a complete prehistoric ecosystem. Massive flying reptiles dominate the skies. Enormous aquatic predators patrol the waterways. Countless other ancient species fill every corner of the landscape. It's less like discovering dinosaurs and more like stepping into another world entirely. Charlie's obsession reaches its breaking point when he chooses personal glory over human life. In the end, the jungle itself delivers justice. The same environment he wanted to exploit turns against him, proving that arrogance can be just as deadly as any predator. Luke, meanwhile, makes one final decision that defines his character. Realizing rescue may never arrive, he secures all of the expedition's footage inside a waterproof backpack and sends it drifting down the river. It's a simple act, but one filled with hope. Even if he never escapes, the truth might. Only then does the movie reveal why it opened with that mysterious backpack floating toward the fisherman. The beginning and ending suddenly connect. The footage inside confirms what the world refused to believe. Dinosaurs still exist, hidden inside an isolated kingdom protected by geography and time. Rather than providing every answer, the film intentionally leaves several mysteries unresolved. We never learn the complete fate of everyone who entered the valley, and that uncertainty makes the ending even more memorable. Instead of closing every chapter, it reminds us that some places are still capable of hiding impossible secrets. More than a dinosaur adventure, the story becomes a lesson about curiosity, greed, survival, and the bond between a father and his son. It asks an interesting question. If humanity really discovered a place like this, would we protect it or destroy it? And perhaps that's the real mystery the movie wants us to think about long after the credits roll.